Hey everyone. So we're all using AI, right? But today we're going to flip the script. We're not just going to use it, we're going to build it. I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can create your very own custom AI using Microsoft Copilot Studio and turn it into a super specialized expert just for your business.
Just think about it for a second. AI is, well, it's everywhere. But what if you could go beyond just using it and actually build your own? An AI that's tailor-made to solve your specific problems at work. That's what we're going to dive into.
Okay, first things first, let's clear something up because the names can be a little confusing. You've got Copilot from Microsoft 365. That's the AI assistant you and your team are probably already using inside apps like Word or Teams. But then you have Copilot Studio. Think of that as the workshop, the factory floor. It's the low-code platform where you actually get to design and build your own custom AI agents.
And look, this isn't just for the super techie folks either. Microsoft MVP Lisa Crosby put it perfectly. She said that learning Copilot Studio is one of the most strategic and useful skills you can pick up. It's a total game changer, basically putting the power to build and innovate right in your hands. All right, you ready? Let's start building. We're in Act 1, the foundation. This is all about giving our brand new AI the basic knowledge it needs to be helpful right out of the gate. The best way to think about this whole process is like you're onboarding a new employee, a digital one, of course. And what's the very first thing you do with any new hire? You hand them the company handbooks, right? Give them the info they need to get started. So how does this actually work? Well, it's a feature called Generative Answers. The tech behind it is called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. Now, don't let the name scare you. All it really means is that your AI can read all your company's existing documents, find the right answers, and then create a really natural human-like response. And the best part? You don't have to write a single line of code.
And that's what's so powerful here. You don't have to create a bunch of new content from scratch. Nope. You just point the AI at what you already have. It could be a couple of public websites, your internal SharePoint site, or even just a folder full of PDFs and Word documents. It's that simple.
Okay, so let's look at a real example. Say a user asks, give me 3 tips as bullet points for managing fatigue. See what they did there? They're not just asking for a link to a document, they want a specific, nicely formatted answer. And just like that, boom, the Copilot delivers. This is what makes generative answers so amazing. It doesn't just send you a link and make you do the work. It actually reads the source, pulls out the key info, formats it exactly how you asked, as bullet points, and then, and this part is absolutely crucial, it gives you citations. It shows you its work. That tells the user exactly where the information came from, and that's how you build trust. So that's step 1. Our new digital employee can now answer questions based on the company handbook. Pretty cool. But what happens when you need it to do more than just answer questions? What if you need to guide a user through a very specific process, like a support issue or a sales request? Well, that brings us to Act 2, taking control and actually designing the conversation. We're basically moving on from general knowledge to specific on-the-job training. You're now giving your AI specific scripts and workflows for those common and especially those critical conversations. This is how you make sure it handles certain situations perfectly every single time. The way you do this is with something called topics. Think of them as the building blocks for these guided chats. It's a really simple logical flow. A certain word or phrase from a user, like emergency, triggers a specific conversation path. The Copilot can then ask clarifying questions, save the user's answers, and then use some basic logic to figure out the next step. It's kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure story, but for a business process. And for some situations, this isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential. I'm talking about things like safety procedures or maybe complex HR policies where you cannot, under any circumstances, have the AI give the wrong answer. By using topics, you guarantee it delivers the exact right information every single time. All right, this brings us to Act 3, and this is where it gets really, really cool. So far, our AI can answer questions, and it can follow a script. That's great, but the real power, the true game changer, is when it stops just talking about the work and actually starts doing the work. This is the final stage of our digital employees training. We're giving them the keys to the kingdom. We're connecting them to all the other software and tools they need to actually get their job done, to perform real tasks, not just spit out information. And hey, this isn't some far-off future stuff. Companies are doing this right now. Just look at these examples from HSO.
You could have a time entry agent where your employees just log their hours by having a quick chat in Teams, and that info goes straight into your finance system. Or imagine an order entry agent that takes a customer's order right in the chat and plugs it directly into your sales software. I mean, that is automation in action.
So let's break down how one of these actions works, using a really simple example. A user asks, "What's the pollen forecast for East Gippsland?" The Copilot is smart enough to recognize two things: the intent, they want to forecast, and the location. That triggers an action. The action then goes out and connects to an external data source. It could be a fancy API or even just a simple spreadsheet with the pollen data. It finds the exact piece of information it needs and then comes back with a clean, simple answer. The forecast is low. See? Your bot just went from a simple Q&A machine to a genuine digital assistant.
Okay, so let's recap. You've now built this amazing, super powerful digital employee. It's got the knowledge, it's got the training, and it's got access to your key systems. But before we just set it loose on the company, there's one last really important step. We have to make it enterprise ready.
Think of this as the performance review phase. You would never let a brand new employee run around without any supervision, right? Well, it's the exact same thing with your AI. You have to do rigorous testing, you have to debug it, and you need to have a really clear strategy for how it's going to be managed and governed.
You got to remember, building a fantastic AI isn't a one-and-done thing. It's a process. And experts out there point to a few common mistakes that are really easy to make. Things like forgetting to track conversations while you're testing, or getting your variables mixed up, or a big one, not checking the permissions on the data sources it's using. Paying attention to these little details now is going to save you from some major headaches later on. Trust me. At the end of the day, things like solid testing and a clear governance plan, they're not just optional extras you tack on at the end. They are the foundation. They're what makes the difference between a cool little prototype and a genuinely trusted, secure, and effective tool that your whole company can rely on. So there you have it. We've walked through the whole process, giving our AI the basic knowledge, training it on specific conversations, and finally, giving it the power to actually take action. The technology to build a custom AI expert for pretty much any task you can think of. It's not science fiction. It's here right now. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build?